While the crowd is busy frantically documenting their dinner, staging the perfect vacation photo, or reacting to the phantom itch of a notification every 30 seconds, you are likely the one who hasn't posted a story in months. While others are obsessed with the performance of living, you are quietly engaged in the act of actually being present. You find yourself watching the broadcast culture from the sidelines, wondering why everyone feels the need to turn their private lives into public property. You might even feel a lingering sense of guilt, as if you're failing to meet a social obligation you never actually agreed to. It feels like the world is playing by a rule book you didn't receive. But this isn't a personality flaw or a lack of social effort. According to psychology, your brain might actually be wired differently. The pressure to be seen online is often framed as a personality trait, but it is actually deeply rooted in our neurobiology. Most people are driven by a constant cycle of intermittent reinforcement, which is essentially the brain's addiction to unpredictable rewards, like the like count on a post. For many, every notification triggers a hit of dopamine in the ventral striatum, the brain's primary reward center. Research suggests that for a specific group of people, perhaps including you, this reward system isn't as easily hijacked by external validation. You likely possess a higher dopaminergic baseline, which is the steady, natural level of dopamine your brain maintains without outside help. Because your baseline is already stable, you don't feel the desperate need for the digital sugar of social media approval just to feel regulated or significant. While others are chasing the next hit of likes to escape a dip in their mood, your brain is already content with its own internal chemistry. This biological independence changes how you view your tribe. For most of human history, social survival meant being visible and valuable to the group. In the modern world, social media has weaponized this instinct, creating a state of hypersociability. This is the psychological pressure to maintain hundreds of weak tie relationships simultaneously. While the crowd is consumed with the exhausting labor of managing a digital reputation, you are likely practicing a form of digital invisibility. You simply don't feel the biological urge to perform your life for an audience of acquaintances and strangers, because your sense of self isn't tied to the collective gaze. While others are searching for their reflection in the eyes of the many, you are finding yours in the clarity of your own private experiences. This sense of detachment can sometimes create the hollow feeling of being an outsider, but it serves a vital purpose. It shields you from the relentless exhaustion of tribal competition. While others are depleting their mental energy fighting for status in a digital hierarchy, you are opting out of the race entirely. You aren't losing the game, you're simply refusing to play, which leaves your internal resources intact for the things that actually matter to you. Studies found that people who choose to remain invisible online often score higher in autonomy. This is the psychological capacity to steer your life based on your own internal values rather than the heavy weight of external pressure. When you aren't constantly checking the digital pulse of what others expect from you, you are free to make choices that are genuinely your own. You aren't reacting to a crowd. You are responding to your own internal compass. By not posting, you are essentially opting out of the social comparison trap. While others are measuring their worth against a curated highlight reel of someone else's life, you are keeping your experiences for yourself. This is a highly effective defense mechanism. When an experience isn't documented for an audience, it remains pure. By choosing not to document every moment, you are allowing your brain to fully engage in neural encoding. This is the essential process of converting a fleeting experience into a permanent, long-term memory. When you aren't viewing your life through the distracting filter of how it will look to a stranger, your brain can focus on the actual depth of the moment. You aren't just taking a mental picture. You are giving your mind the quiet space it needs to actually save the experience in your internal library. There is a profound advantage to being a digital ghost. Because you aren't spending your mental energy on how to frame your life for others, you have more resources available for deep internal work. Psychologists refer to this as cognitive conservation. You are practicing a high level of cognitive conservation, which is the strategic decision to save your inner battery for the things that actually fuel your personal growth. Instead of burning your mental fuel on the endless labor of digital maintenance, the posting, the replying, the checking, you are investing it back into yourself. Your inner world becomes a sanctuary where you can actually rest, rather than a showroom where you have to perform. You aren't missing out on the world. You are experiencing it with a level of presence that is becoming a rare, modern superpower. This ability to be unsearchable is a highly adaptive way to navigate a society that demands total transparency. For many, this isn't a retreat, it is a return to a more natural state of being. You are reclaiming your right to episodic privacy, which is the freedom to exist in the moment without that moment being indexed, archived, or judged by an algorithm. By remaining a digital ghost, you are protecting the sacred boundary between who you are and what the world sees. We remember a time when your private thoughts were truly private, and that memory serves as a biological anchor. You recognize that your inherent value isn't a metric to be tracked or an algorithm to be optimized, but a lived experience to be felt. You are choosing to play a different game, one where the prize isn't 1,000 likes, but a single moment of introspective clarity. This is the rare ability to see yourself clearly without the distorted lens of social validation. While the rest of the world is chasing a score, you are cultivating a sense of self that remains solid even when the screen goes dark. Before you close this window and head back into your own world, I want you to consider a deeper question. Is your digital silence a defensive wall built from the fear of being judged, or is it a sign of existential fullness? That is the state where your real world experiences are so rich and demanding of your attention that you simply don't have the surplus energy to perform them for others. If you've ever felt like you were broken because you didn't want to join the digital noise, you might want to look at how being wired differently is actually your greatest strength. Click on one of these other videos to keep exploring why your brain chooses depth over the crowd. I'll see you over there.